So earlier this year, a multi-million-dollar lawsuit was filed against a Manhattan singer and her bandmates for, quote, lacking sex appeal and talent. The suit against Collette McLafferty has drawn the attention of lawsuit reformers. It's made national headlines, worldwide headlines, actually. At the state capitol today, Collette's Law was introduced, broad outlines. It's aimed at curbing frivolous lawsuits. Joining me now to talk more about this is Collette McLafferty and Scott Hobson from the Lawsuit Reform Alliance of New York. Welcome.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank
Welcome.
you for having us.
It's my pleasure. So we'll start, I guess, with your story.
Sure.
It's got a lot of twists and turns, which would probably take us a long time. So the broad outlines are what exactly?
Basically, I got sued for close to $10 million for performing in a Pink tribute band that a personal injury attorney was once a drummer for. However, the man that hired me for the job and the man that is suing me, they had a falling out and parted ways long before I was even hired for this job.
Mm-hmm.
He started sending me cease and desist letters, and on, I believe it was April 26th, I was served with a 112-page complaint with 13 allegations against me for damages close to $10 million.
Okay. So just to be clear, first of all, for those who may not know, Pink is a singer, just so you know. But so it's a tribute band, and these are fairly common, right? They exist all over the place. They're tribute bands for all sorts of internationally renowned, very high-profile singers. So basically what happened is you got stuck in the middle of a dispute between two former bandmates, one of whom happens to be an attorney.
Absolutely.
That's your misfortune.
Yes, and on top of the $10 million figure, he also wanted me to pay his legal fees.
Can you afford that?
No. And obviously he's representing himself because he is an attorney, and he is drafting up some very long and wordy paperwork for me to sift through.
So you have countersued.
Absolutely.
And basically also, I mean, this defames you. It is also the point, and Scott will highlight this, it really sort of highlights the ridiculous heights to which we've become so litigious in our society.
Absolutely, and it's interesting because I'm not litigious by nature whatsoever. However, when the New York Post reported on the case, they felt that the fact that he thought I was unattractive was the most interesting thing about the case. So when headlines went around worldwide saying that I was getting sued for being old, ugly, and a terrible singer, and I am none of those things for the record, I felt that it was important to really go forward with the countersuit.
Right. So what are you seeking, just to be clear?
I'm seeking justice, whether it's legal fees, whether it's monetary, whether Pink finally comes out and says, hey, stop it, this is ridiculous. I need to see a result that compensates me for everything that I've been through, and I also want to see the state of the legal system change because this is unacceptable that I'm in this situation.
Which I assume you probably didn't know or care about before this happened to you.
No, I did not.
Right, okay.
No.
So Collette actually keynoted a conference for you. Is that what happened?
Yes, she did. That was our first annual Lawsuit Reform Summit here in New York. Collette was our keynote. We had about 85 people in attendance. And you know, Collette shared her story and shared what the impact of the lawsuit has been on her. And we felt that it was great to have Collette there to really highlight the fact that lawsuit abuse here in New York, it's not a victimless crime. It's not something that's just affecting big businesses. It's affecting people, you know, whether those people are people like Collette who, you know, may have just been in the wrong place at the wrong time, or if it's people that, you know, are trying to run a business here in New York, it's everybody who's impacted.
So you don't have, you're pretty much today proposing these broad outlines of legislation that you'll eventually have drafted and introduced and put forth in the next legislative session.
That's right, and I think Collette's case really highlights that the system is broken here in New York. I mean, for this to be able to happen and for this guy to be out there dragging her through the legal system, I mean, you know, it's harassment, plain and simple. And the fact that our legal system has not been able to correct for that is really something we see that needs to be addressed.
So, okay, so we don't know how this is all going to end up, but it could end up beneficial to you. In the end, you could win money. I mean, people would basically think that you were lucky to be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Well,
I don't know if I'd say she was lucky.
If I may interject, there was a period of a few months where I was absolutely numb to life. I went through serious trauma. I would say that I'm in the anger phase now, but it took about 6 months to get there. And you know, I also had women that came up to me. I had one woman said to me, Collette, if I was in your shoes, I would jump off a bridge. And she was serious. I mean, I've been violated within the legal system and then also violated within the media. So I don't find this lucky per se, but I do feel that, you know, as an artist and an entertainer and one that is a veteran of the music industry, if you see something in the status quo you don't like, it's your job to stand up and say something.
So previous attempts to change or curb so-called frivolous lawsuits or the over-litigiousness, et cetera, have been unsuccessful. I mean, trial attorneys are not psyched, basically, about that. And
Right.
they have an ally in the Speaker of the Assembly, who is himself a trial attorney.
Certainly the political environment here in Albany is challenging with respect to legal reform. But I think when you look at this legislation that we're proposing, and just very quickly, the broad strokes are, we're looking at broadening the definition of what constitutes a frivolous lawsuit or frivolous conduct. We're looking at increasing sanctions for attorneys who file or engage in frivolous conduct. And essentially, we're just looking at allowing courts in their discretion to shift costs onto the unsuccessful plaintiff if their case is frivolous. So basically, it's a loser pays system.
Understood. But just to be clear, when was the last time that any significant changes to the system were made via legislation that passed through both houses and was signed into law?
I believe that was 1986, which was the year I was born.
Right, a long time
but
ago.
What's interesting about this proposal is I would expect fully that we would not see opposition from the trial lawyers on it. I mean, the bottom line is you're talking about something that affects only a very small subset of bad actors within the legal community. And it's certainly not in their best interest to have these individuals either go unpunished or in some cases actually being financially rewarded.
So Collette, we're going to run out of time, but I do want to ask you this. Are you going to be here lobbying for this law that now bears your name?
Absolutely. I mean, I have a responsibility to. So yes, I am.
I think
You are working. I mean, just so people are aware.
Oh yes, no, I am working. It did have a short-term negative effect on my career in the very beginning, but I decided it was up to me to start changing the headlines, because literally if you would Google me, bad, ugly, old, terrible singer would come up, and not just one or two headlines. FineLaw.com actually referred to me as a bad, ugly singer.
Oof.
Yes.
But you're working.
I am working. Well,
just so people are clear.
I'm good at what I do. The reason why I have been working professionally for 20 years is because I can sing, despite the false allegations in the lawsuit.
So she's an excellent singer.
So we won't make you prove it on air, but we will see you again then, and we will track the progress of this law. I thank you very much.
Great.
I
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much, Liz.
Thanks very much.